Hey Anthem, it's Pastor Gary with Pastor Buddy, and we are here on Wednesday bringing you day 3 of our daily devotion. Today we're going to be looking at context from the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 17, verses 11 through 19, and Revelation 4, 1 through 11. And Sandy titled it, Two Strikes Against Him.
Just like in baseball.
Yes, Buddy's our sports guy.
2 strikes and you're on the bench.
There
Whatever
we go.
happens.
Yeah, something like
ball.
that, Buddy. Alrighty. So, Buddy, after looking at this, other than thinking about 2 strikes and you're out, like baseball. What are your thoughts on this passage, and how did you relate it to this last week's message on praise and worship, as you did a lot of studying in Holy Roar by Chris Tomlin?
Holy Roar, Chris Tomlin, highly recommend it. Wonderful book. It, as well as just so many other resources, are based off of these 7 words. And then Chris actually talks about how each one of these words sort of led to a worship song that probably most of you know. I encourage you to read it. And thank you, Gary, for asking me.
Yes, that's my job as the administrative pastor, to make sure that he cites
my sources.
Cites his sources. So
yep. So for me, I really appreciate how Sandy incorporated the story of the lepers, and the 2 strikes obviously are referring to this man being a leper and being socially outcast. But not only that, compounding that was that the man was a Samaritan. If you know much about history, the Samaritans were in the land, but not necessarily pure-blooded Jews, and thus were looked upon very scornfully by the pure-blooded Jews, and it was just pretty classic racism. And so for this man to be healed by Jesus was so incredible. What undeserved favor. I mean, this is like the quintessential definition of grace, getting the good that he did not receive and being cleansed of the bad from Jesus. It's like mercy and grace all mashed into one incredible miracle. And I love that while we do, I think, have a burden to think about who are the lepers in our society, one thing that I don't want us to miss out on is we can't necessarily move to that thought process without first having recognized and remembered that, spiritually speaking, we are the lepers, that it is we who were uncleansed and enemies of God, and by our very nature, objects of wrath. And so I just love thinking through like how incredible our God is to just have saved me first and foremost. And then with joy, I'm able to think about, now who can I be this instrument of mercy to in our world?
Absolutely. I started thinking about the disease this morning. I was reading a letter from Brother Lawrence, and he was talking about disease and God being our greatest doctor. And I just highlighted and had to actually send to my wife, just thinking of everything that's been going on just in this world. We don't need to touch on that. But it says, when pain comes from God, he can only cure them. He often sends disease of the body to cure those of the soul. So just really resonating, when disease, when shortcomings come, like what is God truly teaching you during that time? So that's where I've been challenged today, and just tying into this whole devotion with talking about the disease of the lepers. Just felt like it just comes full circle there.
Absolutely. Anthem, your to-do list, if you want to, is try to make 2 lists for us. One would be a list of praise. What is it in your life that perhaps you're not as good at thanking God for as you should be? And how about you make a list so that you can kind of go through that and walk through that list with God and thank him for all those? And then could you also, at least mentally, think through people in your life, in our world, who are looked down upon, who are outcast, and who are in desperate need of love and grace? And how about we continue to be those instruments of love and grace in our world as Jesus was?
Thanks a lot, church, for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.